If you have been creating content for your website but not feeling like you're getting quite the reach that you want to with your website traffic, if you'd like to have some of those fancy as seen on logos showing up on your website, or if you want to get more backlinks coming through to your website to increase your domain authority and make it more likely to show up in search results, I have a solution for you. Today we're going to be talking all about guest posting and how you can use blogs and publish them on other people's websites and other publications in order to improve your SEO. So I'll be back with those details in just a minute. Hi, I'm Meg Casebold, founder of Love at First Search, where we help online entrepreneurs to show up in search results and then turn those new viewers into leads, subscribers, and sales. In this video, I'm going to be talking all about using guest posting and guest blogging in order to expand your reach, your brand awareness, and your backlink profile. So what exactly is guest posting? It's basically just writing a blog, and instead of putting it on your website, you put it on another website. You may reach out to a larger publication in order to have your thought leadership piece seen by someone else. You may reach out to an industry trade magazine in order to get featured in there. But the idea is that you are creating some sort of content that someone else is publishing on your behalf. What are the benefits of guest posting? One, people who are reading that publication or that blog will then see your name and your work. Almost all guest blogging opportunities have an author bio attached to them. So you're able to include information about what it is that you do and who you do it for. And often you're able to include a link back to your website. So people who are reading that guest post can then travel through to your website, become referral traffic, and maybe then they'll subscribe to your newsletter or book a call with you. Two, depending on how prestigious the blog or publication is that you're guest blogging on, you may be able to include one of those as seen on logos on your website, which adds a certain level of credibility so that when people come to your website and they say, oh, this person's been on Forbes, they've been on MindBodyGreen, they've been on Huffington Post, somebody has validated that they know what they're talking about. So it gives you a certain level of authority and credibility by being published in specific publications. And three, it's a great way to get a backlink from a site that has high domain authority to your website, which can help all of your SEO to flourish. I've already talked a lot about domain authority and what that means and how to find it, so go check out this video if you're confused about that term. Basically, domain authority is having somebody else who has a better reputation online than you send you a link and vouch for you, and that can help your domain authority to rise. And four, guest blogging can be a great way to make relationships with influencers in your space. So whether that's a journalist you're reaching out to that can use you in the future as a source, or another blogger who might become a referral source for clients for you, by creating content for other people's publications, you are developing a relationship with them and positioning yourself as an expert on whatever topic you are pitching. So how can you find guest blogging opportunities? The easiest way is to go to Google for it. Search for your industry and then also put a plus sign and say, write for us, or contributor guidelines, or submission requests. Publications that accept guest posts typically have some sort of contributor guidelines on their website that they ask you to follow. So you can see in those contributor guidelines, when you look for them, exactly the topics that they're looking for, how long they want the post to be, what format they should be in, whether you need to pitch it before you write it, or you can pitch an idea and get the go-ahead. And by scanning through the various opportunities that are out there just through a quick Google search, you can get an idea of what's expected within your industry when people are looking to work with you. Another way to find sites that accept guest contributions is to look at the backlinks that your competitors have. Using a tool like Moz Link Explorer or Ubersuggest, you can go and take a look at other sites in your industry, take a look at who has linked back to them. You can even go read their guest posts and figure out exactly what it is that those publications are looking for in the submissions that they accept. And also, you just may already know know the industry publications that you want to get featured in. And the more specific you can get about this, the easier it will be for you to get that placement. So one of my students just got a pitch accepted to a publication specifically for packaging for manufacturing facilities. That was a pretty easy get because she already had relationships in that industry from having worked in it for so long as a designer. And hopefully after writing for that specific publication, she'll get more inbound leads. And if you're reading a magazine all about manufacturing design, then chances are you're going to trust someone who's been featured in that publication. Once you've identified a few opportunities, whether that's by comparing backlinks or doing your own Google search, how do you assess if it's worth your time to submit the pitch and write the post and maybe even promote it on behalf of that publication? There are a couple criteria to think about here. One, check out their domain authority. If it's a smaller publication and it's very specific to your niche, you could go with the domain authority down in the 20s or 30s. But if you're looking at something bigger, I would suggest at least 50, maybe 60 would be more worth your time. You can also take a look at alexa.com and see approximately how many followers does this place have? How much traffic are they expected to get for this? Where do they rank overall within the industry? That would be a really great way to get an idea if you're going to be getting your message in front of the right audience. Check out how many followers they have on social media. You can make an assumption that if they are accepting guest publications, then they are probably also going to share and distribute those. So how many people are you going to get in front of not just the blog traffic, but also the social channels? And if they do have a good social presence, do their contributor guidelines include that they will tag you when they promote the post on whatever channels they are going to be distributing it on? So if you can get that link on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook, how much can that help your business? And also look at what they've already published. Are the quality and type of posts that they already have similar to what you would want to write? Is it something that your audience would want to read? And another piece to consider is within those contributor guidelines, can you repurpose something you've already written, or does it have to be new? Are you able to link to your site? And if so, can you link in the blog post or just in the author bio? How many links can you include? And is at least one of those links a follow link? I'm not going to get too heavy in follow versus no follow versus sponsored links, but the idea here is that we do want there to be some sort of SEO benefit to you writing on that, not just the referral traffic, but also a backlink that transfers some of that domain authority from their website to yours. Once you've found a handful of good opportunities that you want to pursue, what are the next steps? You need to choose topics that they would be interested in. So remember that the editors of these publications or the owners of these sites will get pitches all the time. You want to find something that they would be interested in that they don't already have a ton of content written around, and if possible, make sure it's seasonally appropriate. So if you know that Mother's Day is coming up and you want to pitch something related to Mother's Day, send it in January, not in June, because you don't want them to have to wait a whole year to be able to publish that. This is also a good time before you send your pitch to sort of get to know the people who are in charge of that publication. Follow them on social media, comment on their posts, subscribe to their newsletter, reply to their emails, find out what it is that they're already doing, and get your name in front of them as a follower before you start pitching them. Show them that you care. Show them that you know who they are, that you're paying attention to what they're doing before you start pitching them with what they can do to help you. And if you want to see the top posts on those sites to get an idea of whether you're a good fit for them, you can use a tool like BuzzSumo, which will tell you exactly what the most popular posts are on any given site, how many shares it has on social media, and you can figure out if what you're pitching fits in with what's working for them and their audience. And then once it's time to pitch, keep this really short, concise, and to the point. This is not the time to fangirl over the fact that you've been reading this publication for 50 years and you've read every single article. This is the time to make the case for what is in it for their readers. Start with a really brief introduction, 1 to 2 sentences, something that just creates a personal connection of, I've been reading your blog for ages and my favorite article is this. And then you can move into the pitch where you talk about what you want to talk about, and how it can help the readers of that publication. This isn't a time to toot your own horn or to show how smart you are. The focus should be, here's what the readers can get out of what I am creating for you. And then the third paragraph can just be a list of credentials of here's where else I've been featured, or here's any degrees that I have, or here's how many clients I've worked with. Something to give you a little bit of authority and credibility. And then keep your closing short and sweet. Can't wait to hear from you. Best, your name. If you're writing this as an email, include something fun and compelling in the email subject line. Don't have the subject line be a pitch for publication name. Give a brief glimpse into what they would expect from the pitch. If your post gets accepted, you're going to be coming up with a title for it. So come up with the title before you actually write the post and then put it into your subject heading. So that way the person opening it has an idea of where you're going with the pitch. An email subject line is a great way to get that open rate. And if they open it, then there's much more of a chance that they're going to respond to it. Also, a lot of times those contributor guidelines just have forms, so you're not actually emailing a person, you're just filling out specific answers. The key here is to follow the directions. If you decide to go rogue and just completely ignore what they're asking for, there's a really good chance that your pitch is going to get declined before they even take a look at it. There's a reason they have these systems in place, and it's so that they can make it easy to screen and reply to people who are answering the questions. And then after you've sent in that pitch, wait a couple of days, and if you don't hear back, it is important to follow up. These people's inboxes can get really full, submissions can get lost in these processes, so make sure that if this is something that you really care about, you can follow up with maybe 1 to 3 emails. There was a study done a couple of years ago by Backlinks that about 90% of pitches aren't responded to the first time, but you can increase your response rate by about 60% if you follow up. So just write a quick email, short, sweet, polite, express your understanding that they may be overwhelmed, give a really quick synopsis of what your pitch was, offer additional advice or support of something that they've written since that point that you really liked, and then close it up. No indignation. Sometimes when I don't get back to people quickly, they'll be like, how dare you not reply? And it's like, you don't know my inbox, you don't know what's happening in my life. I'm going to be more likely to reply to people who are kind and compassionate and patient with me than somebody who thinks that they're entitled to a space on my website. If your pitch is accepted, then you need to think about optimizing this post just as much as you would a post on your own site. Writing a really compelling headline that people are going to click through, doing some keyword research about what people would search for that, come up with relevant internal and external links, meaning you may want to link to something else on that website in order to show that you've read that website and keep people on that site. And of course, follow the contributor guidelines. So if the contributor guidelines say that you can include a link to your homepage and social media and a lead magnet, go ahead and go for it. But if they only want one link in the entire thing, think really strongly about which link you want to put in. If you want to send people to your homepage or specifically to some sort of offer that you have, make sure that you're following the rules and doing something that will work long-term for your business when people find you and click through to your website. And then once the post goes live, promote it to your audience. If they see a surge of traffic from your audience, if they see that you share it with them and those people sign up for their email list, then they're going to be much more likely to invite you for other future guest posting opportunities. It can start to build a long-term relationship instead of being just a one-off deal. And make sure to make the most of those guest posts that you have. Include them on a media page on your website. Add them to your media kit. If it's within the contributor guidelines, you can even republish them on your site with a canonical link so people on your site can read it and people on their site can read it, and they still get the SEO for that. If you want more information about canonical links, I'll link to a blog post about that below. In conclusion, guest blogging can be a great way to establish new relationships, to get featured in great publications, to get new people finding you, and to get high quality backlinks coming into your site. If this video was helpful, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you next week.